Yeah.
Clicks rumble.
You're
a rocker, not a rumbler.
That's why I was kind of worried about you guys being in North Park, because you guys were wearing your colors, and there is a lot of Hells Angels around.
Yeah, I'm sure you've seen that, no?
So,
have you ever seen that, PJ?
It's not going to be. It's not going. It's like the law where they got that. If ignorance for the law, it's you're still breaking the law. If you don't know the law, same thing.
But they'll see if you don't have California down below, I don't think they'll sweat you.
Because that's the territory.
Yeah, they'll be like,
yeah, but you see,
but it's still nevertheless,
it's different.
Look at everybody's colors these days when they wear the leather vests, and if they have, again, like Joe's Rockers, whatever, right? And you see on the bottom New York City or Brooklyn or whatever. I guarantee you, if a clique sees you, flying those colors, they're gonna come after you. Trust me, I didn't even have colors and they chased me. So let alone you wearing colors, they really gonna come after you. They're gonna say, whoa, wait a minute, what's this dude doing here?
Yeah.
They're gonna come after you. I'm sure you've been places where this has happened, no?
Of course.
Somebody walks out of a...
I can't speak on it. I just can't speak on it.
Okay.
I can't speak on it, but yeah, of course.
No comment.
Yeah. Well, it's real, and to keep it real, you're gonna wear your colors, wear them at the event. Yeah, you're gonna because people think. Yeah, especially if you're in another city. I've been joking around. I almost slipped. See, it's getting stuck because I've been saying I'm not from this country because I'm from Florida. So every time somebody stops me, I say I'm not from this country. They say, I'm from Florida. So I was ready to tell that to a police officer. We were trying to make a turn, and I gunned it just to get in front of the dudes, right? The whole car, the whole truck, the SUV filled with people, and two cop cars rolled up right next to us.
Wow.
And they just lift their hands like, "What are you doing?" And I was ready to roll down my window and tell them I'm not from this country, just to joke with them. But they just took off. He just went, "Oh, I don't even want to hear it." And he just took off. Huh. But again, San Diego. Big props.
Nice.
I love San Diego, man.
And even it got to the point where, and I'm gonna keep it real. I grew up in East New York, and East New York. I mean, all of Brooklyn in those days. There's ghettos worldwide. East New York was crazy, man. Bushwick was crazy. East New York was very fucking crazy, and I've seen many rock battles and that. And practically
well, East New York is where I first seen rock. That's where I seen it.
What year was that?
1967. And I wasn't in Brooklyn too long. I had just moved there maybe 2 years before that. I thought for some reason that it was like 1961, 2 or 3 that we moved there. But my sister, when she saw my clip, she says, "Junior," they call me Junior because my father's name is Joe. So she says, "Junior, when we moved to Brooklyn, it was like 1965. You don't remember? 64, 65, around there." And I said, "What?" So we went and we looked at the computer. And my father bought the house in 1965. And I said, "Oh, man, I've been telling everybody 61. I was like, well, what did I do?" She says, "No, just correct that." I said, "Well, from now on when I say, I'm going to be real about it."
That's cool.
I don't want to say something that people say, "Wait a minute."
Yeah, yeah.
But I know that my mother, God rest her soul and may she rest in peace, she used to love to... she was from Brooklyn, and that's why we moved from. My father was from the city, from 122nd Street in Spanish Harlem, and we moved from there to Brooklyn because my mother wanted to come back home. She was born in Brooklyn in 1930, and she told my dad, "I want to go back home. I want to go back to Brooklyn." So we bought the house in Brooklyn, and we used to go to East New York, to Eastern Parkway, and they used to have a bingo parlor there. It wasn't a church bingo parlor. It was like a bootleg bingo parlor. I hate to call it bootleg, but that's what it is.
Yeah.
It was a bingo parlor that people used to open up, and everybody go in there and buy the cards and play bingo. And you could go in there and play numbers. There was no lotto in those days, so they take numbers and stuff, and people, and all the families used to take their kids there, and the kids are outside playing, running around, buying you could buy a pound of cherries for 10 cents. So we'd be standing outside hitting each other with cherries and eating cherries and stuff like that. And the girl from the first floor had the record player. And her father owned the store, and she used to plug it into the hallway. And I see the dudes burning each other, and I didn't know what that was. And I was just looking, and I thought they were just playing with each other. I didn't know. I didn't understand. I'm not going to tell you. I knew what it was. No, I didn't understand. I remember seeing Mojo and Ronnie burning each other straight up. they're standing looking at each other, but I seen them like flinching, and all of a sudden they went at each other, and I said, oh, that's nice, I kind of like that, and they went at it, and then I started seeing somebody from the outside come and try to burn them, and I said, oh, wait, this is like a game. But then when I went back to Bushwick, you can't miss it. It was there too, and I said, oh, wow. So when I was hanging out in front of the gate of my house, my sisters were older than me, much older. They were teenagers. They were like 14, 15 years old. And they were hanging out with these MC dudes, like Warren, and
they were probably listening to the music too.
This dude, Money Mike, Big Money Mike. Big Money Mike was real big. Every time he came by my house, he came with like 3 dudes. And their kids, Neo was Money Mike's son. And Neo was one of the dudes that used to like to teach me how to do burns, when I was a kid. Tap him on the head, go down, tap him in the stomach, like that. And that was burns at that time. And I started doing that in my gate. And I noticed that these MC dudes used to tell me, yo, do this, And I said, oh, wow. He says, yeah, now move to the left. Now hit him, like that. And I thought it was like a boxing match, know?
Right.
But it was burning, burn or get burned. And that's what they called it. It says, you get burned or get burned. And that's where I picked it up from. And ever since there, it was like, forget about it. Everybody that I seen playing Skelly, playing Hot Piece and Butter, playing all the kid games, If we were standing still for a minute, you can bet your life that there was 2 kids there battling each other, just playing around, Joselito against Augie. And I can remember all these kids. And it's funny because the other day, I was with PJ and a couple of brothers from other countries or whatever, wherever they were from. We had a lot of dudes, and we were drinking beers and eating chicken wings, and we got lost. We went somewhere where I know there was a lot of palm trees and tables, remember? And
that was nice, yeah.
Yeah, we just sat there and we was chilling and having a good time, and my phone went off, and it was a couple of OGs, from, right? And I introduced them to them, and because, I told them they still keep in contact with me, these dudes, And who you with? Oh, I'm with Ralph, and Ralph is an old dude. Ralph is an old timer, And one of my boys called me and introduced him to the dudes, right, and everything, and they say, yo,
We're talking about RC, right? Ralph.
No.
Okay, sorry.
No, Ralphie boy, no. Ralph is old. Ralph is like, I'm thinking, if I'm wrong, Ralph, don't get mad. I'm thinking Ralph is like 63.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm thinking his
son was rocking early in the 60s then.
Yeah. Ralph was a DJ. He went to Vietnam and he came home. That's how old he is.
Wow.
Okay? And his son passed away hanging out with me. We were doing the Brooklyn thing, hitching the buses. And his son fell off the bus and went under a car and got killed. So, that's how I know Ralph. And Ralph's son, Edwin, and me, we used to rock together when we were kids. We was 11 years old and we was rocking. And I used to do everything he wanted to do because he was my friend, He, come on, let's just hit the bus. It's only a block. I said, well, let's walk it. No, let's hit the bus. And he fell off, and, and that's how I know. And his dad still talks to me. Wow. And his father's an original rocker from back then, you know? And it's not like it's only 1 dude or 2 dudes. It's a lot of dudes in Brooklyn that's still around. And PJ will tell you, he was with me. I got the phone call, and these dudes are old. And I got other dudes that want to come to my house and do videos because they've seen recent videos of people, and they started to get a little upset, and say, wait a minute, I got to do a video and throw in a story of my own, from back in the days. These are real dudes. It's not like some people that try to go find old school dudes and they have a hard time finding. I'll pick up the phone and I'll have 10 dudes right here,
I have people too that I know that from his era. But I just can't mention their names right now because I haven't checked it over with them about this because they're into other things. I co-sign. It's the same shit. Same names are thrown. Same years are thrown. And they danced. They rocked. They ran clubs. They were in the same. When I clubs, I mean discos. Neighborhood discos.
And it was funny, man, that they just happened to be hanging out with me and my phone rang, man. And they were hanging out together. He told me, guess who I'm with? And I said, who? He said, oh, wait a minute. And we all started to talk. It was real cool.
I'm sure you guys are probably tired of hearing this, but how do you feel about, all of these guys that are being brought back? People that are, that are saying that the Bronx, it started in the Bronx, and and with the arguments that have been going on.
You know what, man? I'm gonna be real.
Because it is valid. Because it has been going on.
Yeah, it has
something to talk about.
Yeah, a lot of back and forth. You know, we were first, we were first, and it's gonna continue to go on that way.
Yeah.
You understand? But the only way you're gonna get anything out of anyone and say, okay, I wanna go with this side, you know, which I hate taking sides.
Yeah.
Is if when the dudes from that era show up, you know, like if I tell you, yo, I got these dudes that were with me in the '60s, and they show up, okay?
Yeah.
They show up. Mm-hmm. And the Bronx has done that. The Bronx has brought dudes back, and they got a little history. And I've been one that have never denied the Bronx of not rocking. I've always said it. Chucky came from the Bronx in 1972. And Chucky is more than a brother to me. I love him more than anything in the world, like I do Lil Dave. You know, because we're friends for 42 years. Yeah. You know, me and Chucky are friends going on 39 years now. That's a long time. You know, that's longer than a lot of dudes that are rocking now. Yeah. You know, their age. Yeah. I'm saying
exactly.
So if these dudes, you know, they all get together and they start trying to match each other. Well, we got this guy and he's from 1970. Oh, well, we got this guy and he's from. It doesn't mean anything because nobody really knows where rock came from. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But the burn and get burned, that's Brooklyn's. That belongs to us. I know this for a fact because I was there. Yeah. That's the only reason I can say it. That's the only reason I can say it because I was there. If I wasn't there, I couldn't say that. But since I was there, I could say it.
Wow.
What?
And besides, I know a lot of boroughs that they don't even want the burn or get burned. And they say it themselves. Oh, it's immature. You know, it's disrespectful and blah 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 blah. But you know what? That's our rock dance. And if you come to Brooklyn, that's what you're gonna get. Is that type of rock dance? You know what I'm saying?
Do you think a big part of the rock dance is that burn? Or
in Brooklyn it is. Yeah. But in Brooklyn, it's like everywhere else. You gotta have freestyle, jerks, and then burns, and go back to freestyle.
Gotcha.
There's a reason why. If you look at the early '80s, late '70s, early '80s, the B-boys, Rocksteady Crew, Sure Shot Boys, jerked and burned because it's important part of the dance. That's the core of the goddamn dance. Look at Style Wars. Yeah. Look at Style Wars where you see Crazy Legs and other members of Rocksteady who are holding back the crowd. That's on footage, papito. Look at that. Look at Lincoln Center Battle.
That's
what they were doing. He was there. I mean, Amigo Rock his shit, but I seen it. So, you know, there's a reason why people from other boroughs called it Brooklyn Rock. They called it the Brooklyn. I knew people from Queens, from K1's neighborhood, from my boy Kenji's neighborhood, Briarwood, Queens, Ozone Park. They used to come to East, which is very close to East New York. And we did shows together. And when they used to come and see us dance, oh, that's that Brooklyn. They didn't say Brooklyn, right? That's that Brooklyn. Why would they say that? Why would that name? Why was that term called? I'm not saying, and now I'm not saying. I can never say the Bronx. You know what? I used to say the Bronx never danced rock. Why? Because I never. And when I learned it, it was Brooklyn was every freaking where. We couldn't walk to a block where nobody was rocking. Block parties, every block. When the block parties lasted to 5 o'clock in the goddamn morning. Bah, 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 burning, rocking, bah, bah, bah.
No,
you know what I'm saying? And then when you look around, when you look at the B-boys, they didn't know how to rock. So it was easy to, but breaking was the Bronx. So it was easy to say, yeah, they never rocked. So, hey, and then when I met Brother Chuck, he schooled me. Brother Joe, hey, I had to shut down. Okay, y'all proved it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to tell them, how can I tell guys who are, 20 years, 10 years older than me? No. I'm not going to be a dickhead like that, like other people are. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, but that style of that jerk and the burning is undeniable, man. It's undeniable, in my opinion. Because that's how it became so popular. That's why everybody wanted to goddamn do it.
Because of the burns, the jerks, the burns.
Yeah, burns is what, I mean, the dance is like, burns is like only one part of it. Because, you got the freestyle, you got the jerks. But the burns is, the ones that stands out the most. It's like in B-boying, you got You got your top rock, you got your footwork, but what catches people's attention? The power moves.
Right.
So it's almost the same thing.